Let me tell you a little bit about my life as a loner. I mean, it's wonderful. It's a great experience, and um, I'm gonna tell you why it is, because you have clarity of thought, purity. I don't think anybody can have 100% purity, because we live in a world with other people and other influences that influence us. But I think your thinking is clearer because you're not affected so much by everything that goes on around you. Um, we all are a product of nature and nurture. Um, for me, for those of you that don't know me, a little bit about my background. I am on this planet a long time. And usually I'm more open and forthcoming because with my interview sessions or my discussion sessions here, I'm usually very open, because usually if somebody happens upon it, it's by chance. But my situation is a little bit different. Um, I am, well, I was formerly a Sagittarius. I'm now an Ophiuchus as of 2008, I think, or 2005. I think the signs changed. As a former Sagittarius, we're open and honest to a fault. The keywords for Sagittarius was I see, the understander, the philosopher. The keywords for Ophiuchus is I create. Sagittarians are naturally wanderers. As you can see, I have the Sagittarian physique. I'm kind of thick on the bottom and so forth. And we're hunters. We aim, we shoot, and we think with clarity. Ophiuch is this new sign that they say have come about. And remember, all the information that you get, all of it, if you haven't seen it for yourself, discovered it for yourself, analyzed and thought about it yourself, it's all hearsay. So, it could be true or not. The Ophiuch it's a person that's create. I think Sagittarius is probably the more rocking sign out of all of them. As a former Sagittarian, we were known as wanderers. We don't sit still. We don't stay in one place too long. Um, that's by the signs and constellations, and it's kind of true of me. But by nature, it's kind of that way too. I'm able to be a minimalist. I don't need a whole lot to keep me going, and just the basics. I find joy in the little things. Um, there's a saying that's kind of prevalent through all of our lives, of people in my age range. I don't know if the younger generation has it or not, but the saying is that, make sure that whatever it is that you want to do in life, you do. Now, it's so funny to me. I've been completely and kind of, part of it is my doing, because I think I partially want it unknowingly. Everything kind of happens for a reason, and it happens perfectly. I didn't intend for it to happen, but it did, but it all worked out perfectly. That's how my life runs. So I've been sent this on by my mom. But um, with her, she really had a strong love for the arts. And that was one of the reasons that her parents disowned her. She wanted to get into dancing and ballet, and all her mom's uncles, sisters, and brothers, they were all doctors and lawyers. And so everything that they did that was the status quo of who she was supposed to be culturally, she did the exact opposite. So for me, I always, for the most part, walked the straight line. I did everything up until, I'll say, when I was programmed by the system. That's just the way it is, for real. I was programmed by the system. Everything that you were taught, for my age group growing up in the U.S., for the most part, you're supposed to do A, B, C, and D. I did all of those things. And I didn't realize until my mid-20s that, hey, all that stuff is a lie. It doesn't seem to really be operating the way that they say that it should. And for most of my life, up to then, I was kind of groomed to be, um, the cookie cutter, all American person. Then, 25 was the coming of age where I started to realize, hey, it's not really working the way it's supposed to. And then, you still have a lot of innocence in you. So you say, well, maybe I'm not doing the right thing. Maybe I need to work harder. But no, the system just doesn't really work the way that they proclaim it to work. It didn't. until, and still at when I turned 30 and I had it actually hit me in the face that it was wrong, I still didn't want to believe it because you're programmed to believe a certain way. Now at the age that I am, I see, the truth. I see everything for what it is, because it's for so many times you can go through things before you realize that, hey, maybe it doesn't really work this way. And I've had people that were younger than me actually tell me, hey, it doesn't work that way. And I didn't get it, and I put a lot of credence and faith in the system. But long story short, my mom, she always wanted to dance, dance, poetry, arts, all of that. I was into that too. And the conversation is going to go around a little bit. Recently, I saw this movie that was out a while back. It's called Inside Out. It's a children's movie. And what led me to it at first was I just happened upon it on YouTube. And what I saw on YouTube kind of touched me because it had cartoon characters representing all the different emotions. When I went to see the movie, it wasn't quite as entertaining as I thought it would be, but it was very scientific, more so than anything else. What it mentioned in the movie, there was a young girl, all these different emotions that she went through, which could have possibly led to, they didn't say this in the movie, but I would say just a breakdown of the system. And the 3 islands that kept her going, as far as, that ran her center, was, it started out with, I think, see if I can remember them all in order. Goofiness, the ability just to laugh and have fun, and just be silly, just to have a good time with anything. That was the first island of consciousness. The second island of consciousness was friendship, the ability to have friends, to interact, love, care, and have a passion and drive for someone else. The third island of consciousness was her hobby, which hers was hockey, mine was poetry. And the fourth, there may have been a fifth, but I forget it. The fourth one, or the last one I can remember, was family. So what happened with the deterioration of this young person, as she was growing up, was that, one by one, the islands would fall apart in that order. And there were different things that governed, it was all based on core memories that governed how she felt or how she recalled certain situations. The key thing was that once the situation was touched by sadness, it couldn't be unsaddened. So the different emotions that were involved were joy. She was very happy, upbeat, looked on the bright side of everything, got things done. She was the one that kind of took control of everything. The opposite of joy was sadness. Sadness was kind of just depressed about everything, always saw the negative side, didn't want to do anything, and was just like really, yeah. And then in between, you had disgust, which thought it was better than everyone else. Then you had fear, which was scared of everything. Joy was denoted by yellow, disgust by green, fear was like purple, and sadness, of course, was blue. So what ended up happening, at first they understood the purpose of each of all these different emotions. And then, but they didn't understand sadness. They didn't understand the point of sadness until all of the islands started breaking apart. The first thing, the goofiness, the girl, what happened was the girl ended up moving. Because she moved, she got sad, she got depressed. And, her dad tried to cheer up by being silly, the silly stuff they used to do when they were little, and it didn't have an effect on her. So that island deteriorated. The next one was friendship. She started Skyping with her old friend that was a hockey buddy of hers, and her old friend had made new friends, and so that made her angry. And then she no longer wanted to play hockey because there wasn't no hockey team. And when they finally got one, it reminded her of her best friend that she used to play hockey with. So that deteriorated. And then she decided that she didn't like the new place they moved to. She was going to run away. So the family would have deteriorated. And what I think, though, what that movie was trying to say is that once, it's a step-by-step, it's a systematic process. And once you get to the final part where the family deteriorates, all of the things that have meaning in your life and your support system, when that deteriorates, you're out. So what